Ever pondered about the intricate machinery of life and how it's governed by genetic control? Today we're going to delve into the fascinating realm of genetic control, a master regulator that orchestrates the symphony of life processes, from the synthesis of proteins to the function of cells and their reproduction. Genetic control is like the conductor of an orchestra, overseeing and coordinating the actions of individual musicians. In our case, these musicians are the myriad of cells that make up an organism. Each cell, in turn, is a complex factory producing an array of proteins that drive the functions of life. Now imagine if this factory didn't have a manager. Chaos would ensue, right? That's where genetic control comes in, acting as the manager, ensuring that each protein is synthesized at the right time and in the right quantity. But what exactly is this process of protein synthesis? In simple terms, it's the production of proteins by cells. But it's not as straightforward as it sounds. The process is governed by a complex set of instructions encoded in our DNA, the genetic material that forms the blueprint of life. Genetic control ensures that these instructions are followed to the letter, translating the genetic code into the proteins that form the building blocks of our bodies. Moving beyond protein synthesis, genetic control also plays an indispensable role in regulating cell function. It's like the software that runs the hardware of our bodies, guiding how cells behave, interact with each other, and respond to their environment. It ensures that cells are doing their jobs correctly, whether that's transmitting nerve signals, fighting off infections, or carrying oxygen around the body. Lastly, let's not forget about cell reproduction, the process by which cells divide to create new cells. This is fundamental for growth, repair, and maintenance of an organism. And guess who's in charge? You've got it, genetic control. It ensures that this process is carried out precisely, maintaining the balance between cell growth and death. Decoding this genetic control is like unlocking the secrets of life itself. So, let's embark on this exciting journey together, exploring the marvels of genetic control and its role in the symphony of life. Now imagine the assembly line of a factory, in this case, a cell, where the main product is proteins. In the bustling microcosm of a cell, proteins are the stars of the show. They are the workers, the machinery, and the products. But how exactly are these vital molecules made? The process is called protein synthesis, and it's a two-step dance directed by the cell's genetic control. The first step is transcription, where information from DNA is copied to a molecule called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short. Picture DNA as a grand library of blueprints, each blueprint being a gene. Transcription is like a librarian, let's call it RNA polymerase, pulling out a specific blueprint, reading it, and copying the information onto a portable format, the mRNA. This mRNA then embarks on a journey from the nucleus, the cell's command center, to the ribosome, a cellular factory where proteins are made. This takes us to the second step of protein synthesis, translation. Translation is where the real magic happens. The mRNA, carrying the copied blueprint, is read by the ribosome. With the help of another type of RNA, the transfer RNA or tRNA, the information is decoded into a sequence of amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. Each tRNA carries a specific amino acid and matches it to the corresponding code on the mRNA. But who ensures that the right blueprints are selected or the proper amino acids are lined up? That's where genetic control comes in. Genetic control is like the factory manager, overseeing the entire process, ensuring that the right genes are transcribed and the correct proteins are assembled. It's a fine-tuned process with numerous checks and balances. From deciding which genes to transcribe to controlling the pace of protein assembly, genetic control is the maestro conducting this intricate symphony of molecular interactions. So in essence, genetic control is the mastermind behind the protein production line. It ensures that the right proteins, in the right amounts, are produced at the right time, enabling the cell to function optimally. Think of a cell as a bustling city, with each part playing a pivotal role. But who directs this cellular metropolis? Just like the mayor of a city, the genetic control within a cell orchestrates all the activities happening inside. This governance is all thanks to our genes, the tiny segments of DNA that dictate the roles and functions of different parts of the cell. In this cellular city, we have the nucleus acting as the city hall. It stores our DNA and regulates all the activities within the cell. The DNA, on the other hand, is like the city's constitution, holding the blueprint for the cell's structure and function. Now imagine the DNA as a recipe book. Each gene is a specific recipe, dictating how to make a particular protein. These proteins are the city's workforce, carrying out all the tasks needed for the cell to function, from speeding up chemical reactions to building cellular structures. Let's take a look at the mitochondria, often referred to as the power plants of the cell. They produce energy that fuels all the cellular activities, just like power plants fuel a city. The genes provide the instructions for the mitochondria to produce this energy efficiently. Meanwhile, the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus function like a factory and a packaging center, respectively. They synthesize and process proteins, following the instructions laid out by the genes. Then we have the cell membrane, like the city's walls, controlling what goes in and out, again, all under the guidance of our genes. Each component of the cell has a distinct role, and it's the genetic control that ensures they all work together harmoniously, keeping the city, or rather, the cell, running smoothly. So it's clear that the genetic control is the invisible hand that guides each cell's function. It's like the unseen conductor of an orchestra, ensuring each instrument plays its part at the right time and in harmony with the rest. Without genetic control, the cell city would descend into chaos. So let's appreciate the beauty and complexity of this cellular city, all governed by the marvel of genetic control. Ever thought about how life perpetuates itself? It's all down to the magic of cell reproduction. Let's dive right into it. Imagine cell reproduction as a relay race where the baton, in this case, the genetic material, has to be accurately passed on to the next generation of cells. This process is regulated by genetic control, ensuring precise duplication and distribution of genetic material. First, let's talk about mitosis, the process through which our body cells, or somatic cells, reproduce. In mitosis, a single cell divides into two identical daughter cells, each bearing the same number of chromosomes as the parent cell. This is how our bodies grow and repair themselves. Now, the question arises, how does genetic control fit into this process? Well, it ensures the faithful replication of DNA during the S phase of the cell cycle and monitors the proper segregation of chromosomes during cell division. Now let's take a turn and venture into the world of meiosis, a process that gives rise to our germ cells, or the cells that are involved in reproduction. Unlike mitosis, meiosis results in 4 daughter cells, each with half the number of chromosomes as the parent cell. This reduction in chromosome number is crucial for sexual reproduction, ensuring that when an egg and a sperm unite, the resulting offspring has the correct number of chromosomes. Genetic control in meiosis is even more intricate, as it not only ensures accurate chromosome segregation, but also introduces genetic diversity through a process called crossing over. This is where segments of DNA are exchanged between homologous chromosomes, resulting in new combinations of genes. In the grand scheme of things, genetic control in cell reproduction is like a meticulous conductor, orchestrating a complex symphony of processes to ensure the continuity of life. It is through this intricate process that life, in all its diversity and complexity, perpetuates itself. Genetic control, thus, ensures the continuity and diversity of life. So, we've journeyed through the world of cells, proteins, and genes. But what's the big takeaway? We started with an introduction to genetic control, a concept that underpins the very fabric of life. We discovered that our genes, the little instruction manuals within our cells, dictate the production of proteins, the workhorses of the cell. It's a process known as protein synthesis, where DNA's coded messages are translated into amino acids, the building blocks of proteins. These proteins then perform a myriad of roles, from catalyzing chemical reactions to supporting cell structures. Next, we dove into cell function, understanding that cells are not just biological units, but intricate factories. Each one is organized and efficient, operating in harmony thanks to the genetic instructions they carry. The proteins, synthesized as per these instructions, play a pivotal role in maintaining this harmony. They ensure that every cellular function, from energy production to waste disposal, is executed with precision. Then we embarked on a fascinating exploration of cell reproduction, a process governed by the genetic control center within each cell. Our genes ensure that each daughter cell receives a complete set of instructions necessary for survival and function. We learned about mitosis, a process that allows our bodies to grow and repair tissues. And we delved into meiosis, a specialized form of cell division that gives rise to our reproductive cells, ensuring the continuity of life. In essence, genetic control is the maestro of this cellular orchestra. It guides protein synthesis, regulates cell function, and oversees cell reproduction. It is the silent force that orchestrates the melody of life, ensuring that each note, each beat, each rhythm is in perfect harmony. It's a fascinating world, one that we've barely scratched the surface of. So let's continue this journey together, delving deeper into the mysteries of life, one cell at a time. Genetic control, in essence, is the grand conductor of the symphony of life. Subscribe for more.